2023, Xbox set out with the goal to release one new fresh title in each quarter moving forward. Quite the ambitious goal, but hey, as a gamer, why would I complain? Starting off with the shadow drop of Hi-Fi Rush in Q1, and it was an amazing surprise, especially since Xbox had been struggling in the software department. Having received great reviews from reviewers and fans alike, we awaited with what would follow in Q2. Xbox's next title will even have a good team behind it, teaming up with Arkane, famed for developing the Dishonored series, Prey, and Deathloop, and publisher Bethesda, who needs no introductions, in releasing a first-person shooter called Redfall. Redfall was universally slammed, having received an average to below average scores from reviewers and even worse, the community. Releasing in a broken state with horrible performance issues, and when I say it was a disappointment, that might be an understatement. Over the last year, Arkane has been hard at work updating the game to help salvage the disaster that was Redfall. So let's see if this hard work was even worth it. Hey guys, my name is Peter, aka King Exodus, and in today's video, we're gonna look at the state of Redfall 1 year after launch. But before we do that, how about you hit that like and subscribe button? It would be greatly appreciated since it does help out the channel. But with all that being said, let's get into Redfall. Redfall was an open world first-person shooter with some looting elements, which can be played solo or multiplayer with up to 4 players at any given time. The game is set in a city called Redfall, which features 2 different districts, one being Redfall Comms and the second being Burial Point. For the completionists out there, you unfortunately can't jump from one district to another, so completing this game might be a little bit tedious. So Redfall begins with you selecting one of 4 playable characters, the telekinetic threat Layla, the verified cryptic hunter Dev, the ingenious Remy, and the Deadeye with the undead eye Jacob Boyer. Each will specialize in different combat styles, but I didn't know each playstyle and I just went with Jacob Boyer's. Each character will have 3 different abilities that you learn as you level up the character. Mine, who specializes in stealth and utilizing recon, which honestly wasn't all that bad for me, allows me to use a Raven to scour the area for enemies and disappear at a moment's notice. Now back to the story. Now you and other survivors were trying to leave this vampire infested city called Redfall, but were stopped by an impenetrable wall in the harbor created by the vampires. Now at the brink of death, you are confronted by one of the vampire gods named Black Sun that creates an eclipse for the vampires to run freely across town. You will make your escape through some human adversaries called the Hollow Man cultists and vampires, and meet some useful survivors in the local fire station, which will now be your main home base. At the base, you will meet the gun supplier and a doctor that will sell you weapons and potions. From there, you will gain access to the main story missions. Unfortunately, this game doesn't have cutscenes and tells the story of the game in still pictures with a voiceover from your main character. Truthfully, there's not a lot of mission variation across Redfall unless a mission ends with battling a vampire god. It's usually going to be a fetch quest battling the various human enemies, or kill a specific vampire quest to further the story. Which, in fairness, there's different vampire types like the Shroud, which hinders your vision, the Siphons that suck out your HP, or the Rook, which are powerful vampires to deal with, but once you perfect your strategy, they don't get too difficult. That's why personally I couldn't really engage with the story. Though a lot of the boss fights were really cool, the way that the story was presented in the missions just didn't do it for me. Luckily, Redfall is an open world game, which is where I found the most potential in this game. Redfall leans into the survivor looter shooter elements, but to be honest, once you unlock enough of the safe houses, which are in most of the neighborhoods in the map, will give you access to fast travel anyways. So you really have no need to really explore. As long as you're doing the main story missions consistently and some side quests and the safe house missions, you'll have enough money or weapons to keep you viable against most enemies. And there's quite a bit to do across the map. There's some vampire nests which will make surrounding vampires stronger than usual, and you could take those down. All the vampire underboss missions, and the grave locks to collect. You honestly don't need to do all that unless you're a completionist, and then have fun. After all the updates that Redfall's gone through, there's been a pretty sizable amount of weapons to obtain in the game. One important element to keep in mind against vampires is that you have to stab them with a stake to eliminate them, otherwise they'll continue to come back. But the humans are relatively easy to take out though. Definitely some of my favorites were using the sniper and the stake launcher, because those are some of the most powerful weapons in the game. There's also a leveling system with your character, and as you level up you'll be getting skill points to use on your skill tree to better strengthen your abilities or your character overall. After completing the game, I didn't really see any rewards or anything like that, but I was able to get a higher difficulty and was able to roll over my weapons and items from my previous playthrough. So if you wanted to play through Redfall again using a different character, you could do that. Redfall came a long way from broken state it released in, especially with the lack of 60 FPS at launch, which is available now after all the updates. Not to say I'm a big fan of games being repaired post-launch, but at least Arkane acknowledged the mistake and tried to fix it. Now with update 3, I think we're at a point where Redfall is a playable game. So to answer the question from earlier, was Arkane's hard work even worth it? Yes, I think it was. The game runs smoothly and I never experienced any real bugs or performance issues. Besides a small clipping that happened in the second district area and 3 stutters that happened while I was playing on the Series X, which was kind of weird. Of course, this game runs a little bit better on my PC, but my PC does have some better hardware. But is it a great video game? Yeah, that's still a no. I can see what they were going for and the potential that Redfall had, but honestly, Redfall tried to do one too many things without being excellent at anything. I think the consensus 5 out of 10s it received at launch still pretty much stands. Still kind of an average game. Look, I will say, if you do have a group of friends that does have Game Pass and is willing to waste a few hours killing some vampires, then I say give it a try. But if you're a solo gamer like myself, you're probably going to get bored by the repetitiveness of the gameplay. Being on Game Pass is a plus for this game and not a $70 mistake, so there's that. But hey, let me know in the comments if you played this game and what your thoughts of Redfall was. And if you like this video, consider giving it a thumbs up and subscribing to the channel for more gaming content, like my review on Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, which should be right here, or what YouTube thinks you'll like from my channel, which should be right here. Thank you for watching this video. Until next time, your boy King Exodus is out.